There is a seller profile active right now on one of Brazil's largest online marketplaces that has posted 178 property listings in the last 6 months. All of them are Kingdom Halls. We ran every single address through satellite archives and public records, and what we found is not a reorganization. It is a systematic liquidation operation. These buildings were financed by congregation donations and built with volunteer labor. They are now being sold at full market price, and the congregations that paid for them were never told, never consulted, and will never see a single cent back. By the end of this report, you will know exactly how the money moves, where it goes, and why this is accelerating right now. Part 1. The life cycle of a Kingdom Hall. To understand the business model behind these listings, it is necessary to break down the full life cycle of a Kingdom Hall, from funding through donation to compulsory transfer of property. Every Kingdom Hall in Brazil is financed by direct contributions from local congregation members. There is no corporate development fund. There is no external financing. The capital comes from ordinary witnesses, retirees, working families, young adults, who donate over months or years toward a building they are told will serve their community permanently. The construction itself is carried out entirely by unpaid volunteer labor. Licensed tradespeople within the congregations, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, donate their professional skills and their time. The organization refers to these as quick build projects and presents them as acts of worship. The result is a fully functional commercial-grade building erected at a fraction of market cost. Here is the critical structural detail. Upon completion, the property title does not rest with the local congregation. It is registered to the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, or its corresponding legal entity in each country. The members who financed and physically built the structure hold no equity, no ownership stake, and no contractual right to the asset. This arrangement is standard across all Kingdom Halls worldwide. It is also the mechanism that makes what follows legally possible. Part 2. The Juiz de Fora file. Cross-referencing satellite imagery from Google Earth's historical archive with municipal property tax records in Juiz de Fora, Minas Gerais, our investigation identified a former Kingdom Hall listed for sale at 380,000 reais. The property sits on 723 square meters of land. It is a recent model construction in documented good condition. Public records and congregation directories confirm this address housed a group known as Congregação Fábrica, an active unit with its own dedicated meeting schedule. The congregation was not dissolved due to structural failure or membership collapse. It was administratively merged into another unit. The members were reassigned to a Kingdom Hall approximately 5 kilometers from the original location. 5 kilometers translates to roughly 50 minutes of walking time each way. For members without private transportation, a demographic that includes elderly witnesses and lower-income families who previously attended on foot, this distance represents a material barrier to regular attendance. The organizational term for this process is consolidation. The practical outcome is displacement. Meanwhile, the vacated property, built with local donations and local labor, entered the open market as a liquid asset worth 380,000 reais. The congregation that funded it received no compensation, no credit, no disclosure of sale terms. Juiz de Fora is one case. The seller profile behind this listing contains 177 more. Part 3. The margin. The financial structure of these transactions deserves precise examination. A Kingdom Hall built through the standard quick build model cost the organization a fraction of equivalent commercial construction. Labor costs are zero. Material costs are reduced through internal procurement channels. A building with a market value of 600,000 or 700,000 reais may carry actual construction costs of 200,000 or less, costs that were themselves covered entirely by congregation donations. When that property is sold at market price, the margin is not incremental. It approaches 100% in many documented cases. The organization invested no capital of its own. It deployed no paid labor. Every input, financial and physical, came from local members. The revenue from the sale flows to centralized organizational accounts. There is no mechanism for reimbursement to the originating congregation. There is no published financial accounting of individual property sales. There is no disclosure requirement under the organization's internal governance structure. Multiply this model across 178 properties identified in a single 6-month window on a single platform. Conservative estimates place the aggregate revenue in the tens of millions of reais. extracted from assets that were 100% donor-funded and built with 100% volunteer labor. Part 4. The strategic context. The acceleration of Kingdom Hall sales in Brazil does not exist in isolation. It aligns with a documented global pattern of asset consolidation within the Watchtower organization. Congregation mergers have increased across Western Europe, North America, and Latin America over the past decade. Membership growth in these regions has stalled or declined, according to the organization's own published service year reports. Fewer publishers means fewer congregations. Fewer congregations means surplus real estate. But surplus alone does not explain the pace. Court filings and financial disclosures in multiple jurisdictions point to a parallel pressure. The organization faces significant and growing legal liabilities related to institutional failures in child safeguarding. Settlements and legal costs in the United States, Australia, Canada, and the United Kingdom have reached into the hundreds of millions of dollars. These obligations require liquidity. Kingdom Halls represent an ideal asset class for rapid liquidation. They exist in nearly every city and town. They carry no mortgage. They are fully capitalized through donations. And the donors have no legal standing to contest a sale. The pattern is consistent with a strategy of converting fixed, distributed assets into centralized liquid capital, a strategy that internal documents and expert analyses describe as consolidation to offset rising liabilities in other jurisdictions. Whether the donations of Brazilian witnesses are directly funding legal settlements abroad is a question the organization has never addressed publicly. The financial opacity is, by design, total. The mechanism documented in this investigation is not complex. It is, in structural terms, straightforward. Local members finance and build an asset. Legal ownership is retained centrally from inception. When the asset becomes more valuable as cash than as a meeting place, it is sold. The proceeds are absorbed. The members are relocated. No financial disclosure is made at any stage. 178 listings from a single seller profile in 6 months represent the visible surface of this operation in Brazil alone. The total number of Kingdom Halls sold nationally, across all platforms, private sales, and direct transactions, remains unknown. The organization does not publish this data. What is documented is the contrast. The labor was local. The donations were local. The sacrifice was local. The profit is not. If you were a member of Congregação Fábrica or any congregation whose Kingdom Hall was sold, leave a comment below with 3 words. I helped build. Our investigation is compiling a record of the communities behind these listings, because behind every 300,000 real price tag, there are real hands that laid real bricks. Subscribe and turn on notifications. This is the first report in a series. The next one goes deeper.